Hi, I'm Jeffrey Anderson, Senior Lecturer at Ohio University's College of Business, where I teach management and strategic leadership courses. In this video, we'll define ethics and values, and we'll contrast ethical dilemmas from temptations. Learning outcomes. After watching this video, you should remember and understand the concepts of ethics and values. And you should remember and understand ethical dilemmas and 4 approaches to solving ethical dilemmas. Ethics are standards of right and wrong that influence individual behavior. Ethics help guide people to make moral choices and encourage correct behavior. Managerial ethics are those standards of right and wrong that guide managers in the workplace. Values are the underlying, relatively permanent beliefs and attitudes that help influence an individual's behavior. Values are important and lasting beliefs or ideals that are shared by members of a culture about what is good or bad, desirable or undesirable. Values have a major influence on a person's behavior and attitudes and serve as broad guidelines in all situations. Terminal values are preferences about desired end states. These are the goals that we work towards and would like to achieve during our lifetime. Some examples include self-respect, happiness, self-esteem, contentedness, wisdom, a sense of accomplishment, and making a lasting contribution. Instrumental values are preferences about how those ends are accomplished. Instrumental values are not an end goal, but rather provide the means by which an end goal is accomplished. Instrumental values are methods of behavior. Some examples include ambition, honesty, imagination, helpfulness, and cheerfulness. Ethical dilemmas are situations where our values are in conflict. Let's not confuse ethical dilemmas with temptations. If you find a wallet on the street, you might be tempted to keep it, but the ethical choice is clear. You should try and return the wallet to its owner. An ethical dilemma is a complex situation that involves making a choice between competing conceptions of what's right or ethical. Ethical dilemmas create a paradox where serving one conception of right violates another. For example, if you are aware of a friend and coworker violating company policies, do you keep that knowledge confidential and violate your duty to the company? Or do you violate the trust of your friend and report his actions to the organization? Next, we'll review 4 different approaches for solving ethical dilemmas. First, the utilitarian approach. In this approach, the decision maker chooses the solution that delivers the greatest good to the greatest number of people. Basically, the utilitarian approach involves making a cost-benefit analysis of the impact on stakeholders. For example, a manager might decide to close a factory, harming individuals that work at that factory, but saving the jobs of more employees of the company and protecting the owner's investment in that company. Next, we'll examine the individual approach. Ethical behavior in the individual approach is guided by what will result in the individual's best long-term interest, which ultimately are in everyone's self-interest. The assumption here is that you will act ethically in the short run to avoid harming yourself and others in the long run. Next, we will examine the moral rights approach. In this approach, behavior is ethical when it is guided by respect for humans' fundamental rights. These moral rights include things like life, liberty, privacy, health, safety, and due process. The moral rights approach is a means-based approach, where the decision maker is guided to respect human rights during the decision-making process. Finally, let's examine the justice approach. In this approach, ethical choices are those that respect standards of fairness and equity. Ethical decisions are those that are applied fairly and consistently. For example, does an organization promote employees impartially, without regard to issues like gender, race, age, and sexual orientation? In this video, we defined ethics, values, and ethical dilemmas, and we discussed 4 approaches to solving ethical dilemmas.